Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our Monday Mindset. This is the place to be every single Monday where we feed our minds, get motivated for the upcoming week. And remember, I always say, in order to change our business, we start with first changing our mindset. And so one thing that I always like to do is get pumped up, decide what I'm going to do every week. And Monday Mindset is there to help you get motivated as well. If this is your first time, go ahead and put first in the comments. And if you don't get SMS reminders or email reminders, and you would like to get either one of those every Monday so you don't miss a call, either type in SMS or email to get one of those, and we'll send you a link where you can get that information and get signed up for those. Now, this week, I have something really fun scheduled. Not every week do we do something interactive, but this week is one of those weeks. And if you saw my post or my email that came out yesterday, I really talked about how I had to be literally hit over the head with bricks to really get it through my mind that I needed to stop doing all the work myself. Now, I say that all the time. We talk about it all the time. But I was told that over and over. I read it, I learned it, but yet there I was for so many years doing all the work myself. And sure, I had a couple VAs, I hired a couple people, but I was still the major person, the person doing all the work. And what that meant was I couldn't focus on other things. I couldn't focus on lead generation. I couldn't focus on customer acquisition or keeping clients happy or even just reaching out to clients. I was so busy that I was practically working every waking hour I had, nights, weekends, and I did it for years. Now, hopefully you haven't gone that far down the path. Hopefully you really have taken some time to learn some of the nuggets that we try to bring to you every single week. And some of you guys I see in the names in the comments, some of you guys are already in our programs, but that doesn't mean you can't just get a few extra things. What we present on our Monday Mindset are typically things that are not in our courses and vice versa. When you come here, you're not getting everything that are in our courses and you're not getting the advent of that. But today I'd like to talk about how to make that leap, how to make that decision. Many of you guys were in the same boat I was. And if you haven't made that leap yet, or you haven't fully committed, let's talk about that. You see, I didn't want to hire people. People to me costed money, and that's all I could see them as was an expense. I saw people as a way to take money out of my pocket, put it into theirs, and somehow I felt like that wasn't going to help me in my business. Maybe it was greed, but I likely doubt it. It really was because I just didn't have the right mindset. I was thinking things like, man, I can't afford to hire someone. I don't trust them with, the work. Only I can do that work. I don't have the time to train them. I really don't need any more people. There were so many excuses that I was making that I personally felt, but it wasn't the truth. I was lying to myself. And notice every one of those statements starts with the word I, because that's all I had really was me. I was the one doing all the work. I was the one making the decisions. And ultimately, I was the one responsible for not building a team. And a team is what I needed so badly. Not more money, not more customers, not more leads. Now, if you have none of those things, no customers, no leads, of course you need those things. But for me, I literally needed a team. I needed people to help me to get the work done. But I'm a very visual person, and telling me something isn't usually the best way to really get my mind wrapped around something. Because I'm such a visual person and aesthetics really matter to me most, I needed someone to show me. And unfortunately, it took years before I got the gist of it and was able to show myself, because nobody showed me something in such a simple manner that I was like, oh my gosh, what was I thinking? So that's what I've done for you guys. And you heard me, if you missed the email and the post yesterday, I created a calculator. I created a very simple visual that's going to help you understand in an instant why it is so critical to hire folks. Now, listen, our programs actually help you implement what you're going to learn today. So this is not going to replace what we do in our programs. But if you can't make that mind shift like I couldn't, and for years, I could not change my mind. I could not get out of, my stinking thinking, right? If you can't make that jump, you won't make the jump to join one of our programs. You won't make the jump to get things fixed in your business. You won't make the jump to make your life easier, right? We don't need to work harder. We don't need to work more hours. We need to get smarter. So today I'm going to show you that calculator. We're going to go over it. And I don't always open up the floor for questions and comments, but today is one of those days I'm going to do that and allow you guys to ask questions or even give us your feedback. And then for any of you guys who like the calculator and you want a copy of it, I want you to type "show me." Those are the two words, either in the chat here, in the Facebook group, or reply to the email I sent. We're going to give 100 people a copy of the calculator. And I think we already had 25 people respond already. And, that post went out late last night. So whoever puts those comments in, Patrick just put it in, "show me." Hi, Patrick. Let's go ahead and start looking at that calculator that I want you guys to get. So with that, I'm going to share my screen. And let's talk about this calculator. Now, as you guys know, I like Excel, I like calculators, I like numbers, I like data. I didn't used to. What I learned is data tells a story. And so I tried to think about what's a great way, how can I show you guys why you need to stop doing the work and what benefit that brings you. So I created a very simple calculator, and there's a couple of tabs here only for the demonstration today. When you get your version of the calculator, it'll just be the one sheet. So I used to be the worker. This was me right here. I used to sell it. I used to do it, collect on it, etc. I was everything in my company. And I thought I was saving money. I was actually making money. And because I got to keep it all, I was doing better. My goal today is to show you how wrong that thinking was. I was making one of the biggest mistakes in my business by thinking that way. But nobody could show me as easy as I'm about to show you why it makes a difference. So back then, if I was lucky, I might be able to do 2, maybe 4 websites a month. Now, I did have a VA at the time, but a very untrained, very unseasoned one who couldn't do very much, but took a few little tasks off me. So each website was probably still taking me, quite a bit of time. So I was probably building 4 websites a month, but I was probably spending about 160 hours a month on those websites. I was selling them for right around $3,000 each. So I was literally making right around $12,000 a month on average on websites. But because I was literally spending 160 hours building them, my hourly rate was $75 an hour. And I know you're thinking right now, man, Lisa, that's good. It's not. I promise you, you can be worth so much more money. Now, on average is the key here. Let's say you're only selling them for $2,000 a month, and you're selling the same amount, and it's taking you the same amount of hours. Your rate, notice, goes down to $50 an hour. Or if you say, well, you know what, I can get them done a lot quicker than that. I can get all 4 done in 80. Great. Your rate is $100 an hour. If you don't know your math, if you don't know your numbers, how do you know? Now, I'm not adding in all of the, I have to go sell it, and then I have to do it, and then I have to collect the money, and then I got to do my taxes. We're just going on some base numbers here. We don't want to get too complicated. So I'm going to put my numbers back in there just for illustrative purposes. Now, at the time, I did have somebody helping me, and that person around that time was probably, if I remember right, making about $650. Notice when I put $650 in there, right? And I take away some money, it should allow me to take away some hours. But again, I was working 160, even with the person that was helping me. So that brings my total down to $11,350, but my hourly rate was $70.94 on those activities. I also had some SEO clients. And so, for example, say I had 2 SEO clients, but it was taking me on average, because I was doing it all myself. I was writing the articles. I was, doing everything myself. I was spending around 200 hours doing the actual work. And I'm just going to make sure we're not missing anybody trying to join. No, we're good. We'll keep going. So when you think about those 200 hours, and I was making right around $1,500 a month on SEO, again, that one stunk. Man, I was making $15 an hour doing SEO. Even if I could cut those hours down to 100, I was still only making $30 an hour on SEO. And what most people would think is, you know what, I should just keep doing websites because I'm making more money per hour. But here's the thing, you need a suite of products and you need a balance. So on average, for the 260 hours a month I might have been working, which is a lot of hours when you think that you're only supposed to work 40 a week. So that's what, 160. I was working an extra 100 hours a month, every month, over month. It was insane. I just worked way too much. And I was doing it for an average rate of $50.47. Now, I had other bills and I had other things, so I actually wasn't making this much. But again, I want to keep the calculator very simple. So what's the big deal here? Well, the big deal here is I was missing a team. So let's take a look at what could happen. I'm going to open up a second part of this calculator, and then let's come up here and start again. So let's say I can create 4 websites a month at 160 hours a month at an average price of $2,500. Let me put in my worker in here. And there I was grossing 10, paying out 650, still making a nice, cool 93.50 at 58.44 an hour. If I had those 2 SEO accounts I talked about, and let's say I only worked 100 hours, which is still a lot, at $1,500 with no employees, again, I was making another $3,000 a month. So a nice, I don't know, $100,000 a year salary, a little bit over, at the tune of $44.22 an hour. Let's come down here to this calculator and let me zero it back out a minute. And let's be realistic. Let's say, because I decide to hire a couple of people, right? I could sell 4 websites. And instead of working 160 hours, I can work 40 hours a month on those 4 websites. So 10 hours each. That's my time, my personal time selling and maybe talking to the client, that kind of thing. And then I come here and I hire a couple of people, 1 person, half a person, whatever it is, but I spend $2,000 on labor. Odds are, because I'm only working this 40, odds are I could actually get 8 websites a month because I now have time to work on getting them. So yeah, that would up my hours to 80, but that's still half the hours. And now I'm not doing the work. I still keep my average price the same, But now I hire and I spend 2,000 of those dollars every single month. Notice I bring in double, but I'm only giving away 2,000 of that. So I make more money. I make more money here. Oh, and wait, my hourly rate goes to $225 an hour instead of $58.44. Wait, does that make sense? I get more work because I have more time to focus on lead gen. I work less hours. I make the same per website. All I have to do is spend a couple grand and hire people. Look at the math. The math doesn't lie. Math doesn't lie. But even, I'm going to go back here and show you again, because I want you to see this. Even if I don't get any more customers and I still only get 4 a month, I'm only spending 40 hours instead of 160. My hourly rate goes up to $200 an hour, and I only lose $1,700 to earn that much more an hour. Well, what would I do with the extra 30 hours a week? Of course, I would go out and I would get more customers to ramp that up to 8. The same thing is true of SEO. I could literally double the SEO accounts that I had. Now, I'm not saying you're going to go get 4 a month. What I'm saying is you're going to take your 2 a month and you're going to slowly get another one, then another one, to where maybe you settle at 4 a month, or down the road 6 or 8. Remember, these numbers keep changing. So instead of spending 100 hours, now I'm coming in here and I'm only spending maybe 20 hours a month, because again, I'm going to come here and I'm going to hire, notice got a labor cost here. I'm going to hire 1 person, 2 people, whatever. I'm going to hire someone to help me do the work. And again, I'm going to make some extra money, but I'm also going to have to pay out a little money, and my rate's $225 instead of $30. The average goes from $44 an hour to $337 an hour. And look at how many hours I'm spending a month. Now, 60. Now, let's be honest, I am working more hours likely. I'm going out and doing sales and I'm doing other things. And the more you hire. So for example, if I decided I'm going to get a project manager to do everything and I'm going to do all this other stuff, I could up this to maybe $5,000 a month. I would then only be working maybe 10 hours on those 8 websites. Notice, yeah, my cash goes down, but look at my hourly rate goes way up. What do I do with those extra hours? You know what? I go out there and make this 10 websites a month. I come out there and get my monthly SEO up to 6 over time, and then to 8 over time. And let me make this column a little bit wider so you can see this number here. Wait for it. Hold on. There we go. Now all of a sudden I'm making $1,200 an hour. Now this is going to happen slowly. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to happen. So here I was spending $650 a month on labor, working myself to death, right? Just crazy amount of hours for $44 an hour, because I couldn't get my head to see this. That's what I meant by I wasn't a visual person. What ended up happening is when I started really learning this concept, when I started working with a business coach and he was explaining this stuff, like everybody I'd met, he was explaining it and I wasn't getting it. So I started writing stuff down and I started creating the math for myself. And that's when I created, it wasn't this calculator, but it was a spreadsheet similar to this. And I looked at it and I thought, holy crap, I can make more money working less hours. I'm in. And I know it sounds dramatic. This is when my business changed. This is when my life changed. And this is when everything started to grow and scale. Now, it doesn't happen overnight. And I'm not here to tell you this is an easy button and next week you're going to have, all the money just because you go hire some people. You're going to have things you have to deal with. For instance, how to hire the right people, how to train them. how to onboard them, how to talk to them, how to keep them, how to deal with them. You're going to have processes and things that they have to learn and you have to understand to make sure your business runs smoothly. Look, and I'm not going to lie to you. That's why we created Agency Fast Track. That's what our programs do. They teach you how to do all that stuff. But whether you go through our program or you find it in a different manner, the truth is you have to change your mindset like I did. You have to go from being the worker to the CXO. Without this shift, without this mindset change, going from the worker to the CXO, you will be working a lot harder to make a lot less money. Again, $44 an hour, $1,200 an hour. And even if you say, Lisa, I just don't think I could do that well. Let me just pop this down and just say, okay, I'm going to up your websites from 4 to 6, and I'm going to up your SEO from 2 to 4. Yeah, you're still going to put out $6,500 a month in labor. But guess what? Here you're going to make $21,000 a month. Here you're going to make 13. Here you're going to make $44 an hour. Here you're going to make 612. Even bringing this down to 5 and 3. And I know it seems odd. You're like, wait a minute, Lisa, you're blowing my mind here, right? Even bringing this down to 5 and 3. Here you're going to gross 13,000. Here you're going to gross 17,000. You're going to give away a lot over here. So you're going to make less in here, but you're only going to work 30 hours, making about $450. And I'm not even, these hours should adjust too. So I'm not even doing this properly. Now, I don't think this is the scenario you want, because why would you spend this much money to make less? Hey, to have a life. More importantly, so you can spend the hours working on your business, so you can get these numbers up. So you can get these numbers up realistically. So here's a realistic switch. You can go from selling and delivering 4 websites a month to 8. You can go from 2 to 4 SEO accounts. And I like to show this as many ways as possible. Let's just say, you know, at least I don't like to do a ton of websites. You know what? Let's leave it at 4 websites a month, but let's try to get 8 SEO customers. Look what happens. I still am only doing 4 a month. That's going to keep some nice bread and butter coming in, right? I get to net $5,000, but I've got this PM in here as well as, you know, some kind of, worker, and I'm spending 5, but I'm still making 10. And although I'm only keeping half of that, they do almost all the work here. And then that's actually going to reduce my hours here to maybe 10, and boom, because I have 8 clients, but I'm only spending 10 hours a month on those SEO clients, because the person I hire up here is doing and helping. Again, here's where I bring in my serious money on SEO. I get to keep most of it because this is just the SEO this person was paid for. Or you can split it. You could say, hey, I'm gonna just do it and say, hey, here's my workers, and then mostly on the SEO, you know, I'm spending that $5,500. It doesn't matter how you do your numbers, right? That's the beauty of this calculator. You get to help yourself project. You get to figure out what this looks like. And then you start working towards making this happen. When I actually did this exercise, I had more things in here. And when the business coach worked with me, we literally went through and I learned what I was making on every single thing, what my ROI is, what my hourly rate was. I actually put it into Excel just like this, similar. And because I was doing print and I was also doing logo design, and I was still doing most of that work myself, my hourly rate was like $16 an hour. That's why it was such a major aha for me. I literally looked at what I was making, what I was doing. I was like, I'm working for $16 an hour. That's insane. And I did. I bought into it. I changed my mindset. I started working towards this goal. And on average now, we probably bring in 10 websites a month. And we have, I don't know, 15 SEO clients on average, right? Now, do I still spend this few hours in my business? If I'm not talking about the lead gen and getting the business and all that, yeah, I actually spend right around this now. And so if I don't factor in lead gen and everything else, and I just factor in my services, sure, I'm probably making $4,000 an hour, but I do go out and lead gen and I do go to other things. So what's my number now? Well, if you've been on a couple calls with me in the past, you will know my number literally is $1,000 an hour. That's what I strive to make personally for the activities in which I do. So as long as at the end of the day, my company delivers on that promise, I feel really good. Do I hit it every day? No. Do I hit it every year? No. But you know what? I'd rather go for $1,000 an hour and fall short at 800 than be making $44 an hour. So I encourage you, I'm going to let you guys have a copy of this calculator for the lovely price of typing "show me" in the comments. If you're watching the replay, type in "show me." If you're responding to the email I send out, respond to that and type "show me." If you're on the Facebook group, I want you to type in "show me" on the post where you're seeing this video. I'm going to give 100 copies of this calculator away. And for those people who have never met with me, now, if you've already met with me, this doesn't apply, but if you've never met with me and we've never had a strategy session, once you type in "show me," I'm also going to reach out to you and ask you if you'd like to meet with me. We're going to put in your real numbers and we're going to project. And I have a couple more calculators we're going to open up and go through. And we're going to give you a game plan on what your life could be like. Now, how does that help you? Well, at least it shows you where you can go and what you can do. From there, I'm going to highly recommend you get in our agency fast track program. If you're not already, the only thing I can ask you is, why? What are you waiting for? Spending just a little bit of money, spending and investing in yourself. This is what happens when you do it. You learn how to stop being the worker step by step in our program and how to become the CXO of your business. If you want to learn those things, stick around here and you will eventually learn part of it, but I will never show you step by step on our Monday mindsets. That's not what they're about. For people in my program, they come here to get motivated every week, to remind themselves why they're doing the program. For those of you guys not in the program, it's for me to show you, you have to change your mindset. You have to change what you're doing today. I don't always do this when we do our Monday mindset, but today is a little bit different. I would like to open it up for anybody, any volunteer or more than one volunteer who would like me to put in your numbers right now, what you currently have on average, and we don't need exact, just guesses, and what you think you want to do, and we can pop in your numbers. Or if you have a question or a comment, I want you to pop that in, and then we'll answer your comments and or questions. So anybody want to do that? Elise, do you also invest in help at the top of the funnel with an appointment setter or two, doing the initial outreach and follow up with the leads so that you have more qualified appointments every month? Elise, that's a great question. In my agency, I don't, because I typically answer all of the sales calls for my agency. Just because we are so good at our lead gen, most of the calls that are coming to us are very qualified. We don't get a lot of unqualified calls, and I know how to qualify them pretty quickly and get off the phone if they're not. In my agency fast track business, where we're selling programs and courses, 100%. We do actually have, some help getting, talking to you guys. You've noticed, you've talked, you've seen Lauren helping, you've seen Christine helping, Colette will sometimes get in there and help if you've ever gotten a PM from her. So yeah, 100% I have help. Remember, it's your business. You can literally, decide what you do versus what you want to hire out. For me, for example, I typically like sales and I like talking to the customers and I like doing that part of my business. So that's a part I kept for myself. But that is also the thing I'm focused on seriously right now, that is something I'm going to replace. I'm going to replace me with a qualified salesperson that can actually, do the sales and make the sales and follow up with the customer. So I can get myself also out of that part of the business. The negative about that is that's the part I like. And then I really feel like I don't even have a part of my business anymore. And I think that's why, at least, I have not done it yet. And I'm fighting it, because once I replace me in that regard, what do I do in my business other than come up with ideas and implement them? And I don't know if I'm ever going to be okay with that. But again, it's a personal choice. You get to pick what you do with your time. My agency, I work right around a 5 to 10 hours a week on my business, in my business, et cetera. So it's not too bad. Patrick says that's when you're on a permanent vacation. Totally get it, Patrick. I just don't think I'm ready for that yet. I don't know what I would do all the time. Just not ready for that yet, but I will be. As you know, Patrick, I spend lots of time. I'm pretty much on, a very light schedule, and I do enjoy my life. And so right now I like the balance. I like what I'm doing. Okay, anyone want me to pop your numbers in there, or anyone have a question about the calculator? I see lots of show me's. I see people saying, hey, this makes perfect sense. Let me ask this too. Is anyone struggling with this concept? Like, somehow, is it really like, I can't make this shift. I just can't spend this money. Go ahead and put some question or something else in there. Elise said, thanks, Lisa. Great answer. Yes, I like talking to interested people, but it's just the initial follow-up that I like the idea of an appointment setter. 100%. The one thing, Elise, you have to remember is, if you're going to bring someone on that's an appointment setter, if you don't have enough work for them to work on a commission basis, that's fine. You're going to have to pay them a salary. Most good salespeople want to get a commission. Setters, perfectly fine paying them for every, appointment they set. But if you're not giving them enough leads for them to set from, they're not going to sit around waiting for calls. They need to make money too. So that's the balance with setters and salespeople. You have to have enough leads, and you have to be busy enough that you can, in fact, keep them busy, and pay them. So that's going to be your struggle. So, and Tamara, I see you have your hand up. What you got?
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I'm a strategist, so I have figured out some incredible funding opportunities. So I have a turnkey ability to create websites with social and search, but I think it's a weak splash. So I want to be able to do a bigger splash working with your agency. So my clients will be paying $1,500 for a do-it-yourself package when it comes to them creating their website with our project management team. So okay, I like your numbers.
Yeah. So Tamara, DIY, website, they do their own websites.
We have a project management team, so they'll be able to work and decide what they want to, drop in, copy, drop and paste into their block buildings, create their business. It depends on how many pages they want, but they can get a 5-page website, fully functional, for about $1,500. I have a wholesale connection with that.
Okay, perfect. And how many do you think you're doing per month right now?
I'm not doing any. I've been strategizing. So I would like to do 10 per month.
So you'd like to do, let's put it down in this calculator then. And since we don't have the what we're doing now, because you're kind of doing zero.
Okay, we're just putting it in hypothetically calculating.
Yeah. So if you want to do like 10 a month, how many hours will you be spending doing it?
I would outsource it to our project management team.
So you'd be spending zero. Well, maybe you'd spend an hour a week talking to that person.
Yeah, about an hour.
Yeah, at $1,500. What does the project manager / team cost?
$500.
I like those numbers. Those are good numbers.
Our project management team.
Where did you get 500 from?
They just want 500 from the project management side, and we get to pocket the profit. Yeah, but we're on a live stream right now, so yeah, it's our agency.
Yeah, so $500 a month for the team, right? And here, let's get this out of here.
Yeah.
We got to zero all
so
these
anywhere
out.
between 1,500, 2,500, and 3,500 would be the packages. Good, better, and best.
Well, let's just throw a couple of them in here. Let's say you can do, 4 at 2,500. Your labor cost doesn't change, right? Well, you're making a lot of money per hour because you're not spending a lot of time here. Right? So if you take your gross $25,000 a month, I think your labor cost probably should include like what you're paying for the software or what you're paying for, any others. So even if that goes up and even doubles, right?
Yeah.
That's a beautiful business model right there. Anytime you can do something that doesn't take your time, software, services, apps, things like that, your hourly wage is always going to be incredibly huge on those activities.
Perfect.
Right? Well, because then you're going to spend your hours doing lead gen. And so let's say you even include your lead gen hours in there. Say you're working 40 hours a month here and 10 hours a month there. That still doesn't suck, does it?
No. So what I've figured out is that I wanted to charge for high quality leads at $50 per lead. And if I'm generating one lead per day on a 30-day basis, that's $1,500.
Yep.
And I have a database of 20,000 people right now, a dedicated 5,300 members.
Right. Well, I would, the next step for me, Tamara, would be, okay, how do we put together a process to get it going? Right. I would be noodling exactly what it took, because in order to literally, make those numbers pop, it's a numbers game. We know that.
Exactly. So is your goal going to 8 figures within 12 months, or what's your mission right now for helping all of these new students?
I don't have a goal per se for 8 figures ever. I'm not big on money. I'm big on time. My goal in my business has been to get me out of working a lot of hours. That's been my goal. The cool thing is I keep making more and more money, but my personal why is time, not money. Right? You're going to learn that 10 million seems like a lot of money to make every year. Seems great, doesn't it? But
yes.
There's no such thing as passive, stress-free income. It just doesn't happen that way. And the more money you make, the more stressful it is, the more problems there are, the more things that have to happen, right? And in this great country, which I know you're in the US, the more money you make, depending on what bracket you're in, the more money they take. So there's a fine line between I want to make more money and I want more time. It's up to you what you figure. Will we make 8 figures? Sure, we probably will at some point. Is it a goal? No.
Okay. Well, I love your heart, Lisa. I want to be able to contribute my network to being able to make your goals happen. So my mentor is actually put into the category by Washington Business Journal as the #1 fastest growing company during the pandemic. And I was able to get her 100% engagement on a fan page in 28 days.
Nice. So, yeah, and I know your specialty. You've got some special skills that I think really are going to blow you up at some point. So it's just a matter of continuing to work your program, work your plan, get very granular with your numbers. That's what literally helped me change my mindset over time. You could tell me all day long to do something and I wouldn't do it. But when people start doing this kind of stuff, I wake up.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah. So I have access to some big funding, but I'm a little concerned about the interest and the principal and being locked into a loan. I don't know if you might be able to help me, wrap my head around all of that. But
yeah, we could take that offline if you
okay.
don't mind. Not really on topic today. Totally ping me on Skype and we'll take that offline.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. That would be great.
You got it. You got it. All right, guys, anyone else have any comments? I'm going to go check the chat. I try to keep these calls around 40, 45 minutes, and we're coming to that mark. But if you had any other comments, had any other questions, or if you haven't yet typed in the words show me, do so, and I will make sure you get a copy of this calculator. It seems easy peasy. I know it's not crazy exciting, but at the end of the day, when you can come here and you can illustrate as easily as this, being able to come here and type in, and let me just rewind this here and leave it where we had it a second ago. There we go. All right, when you can look at something like this and say, look, I can go from 44 bucks an hour to over $700 an hour. What would it take to make you say, yes, I need to do this? Ask yourself this question right now. Why am I not doing this? What is standing in my way? And I would guess most of the time, I know it was me. I was always the person standing in my own way, making excuses. I don't want to spend that money. Can't afford to spend that money. I don't want to hire people. People are a pain in the ass. And this is stuff I would say to myself. I don't have time to train people. Nobody could do it as good as I can. Nobody could be as good as I am. I would come up with everything in the book. Today, I encourage you. Remember, this is our Monday mindset. Change your mind and you will change your business. Guys, thanks for joining me today. Have an amazing rest of your week. Enjoy your time and make it profitable and prosperous. We'll see you guys next week.